Allez-y.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the Global Entrepreneurship Week organized by Yasser. I would like first to thank all the team that is working behind the scene, that we don't see it now, but they are really doing a great job, so well done. My topic today is about something that is really important to every business and to every single institution, whatever the size it is. It is about business continuity and crisis management. Before beginning, let me just introduce myself. My name is Rauf Riahi, member of the Business Continuity Institute. I am a retired military senior officer. I had several positions before getting out of the military in 2018, where I joined a US consulting firm specialized in business continuity and crisis management. So I was dealing with several projects all around the world in terms of support in business continuity and crisis management. I am also a winner of the BCI Africa Award 2021 and nominated for the World Award. So I wish I get it. It is this week. So cross fingers, you may have a world champion here in Tunisia. I am also a founder of GRCS Consulting, which is a business continuity firm. And we have recently implemented a training center within the company, which is Africa Business Continuity, specialized in business continuity and crisis management. Our hope is to spread this culture of resilience among the different entities of our society. So I will begin with some words from Martin Luther King. He said, I cite, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy." So it is important for every leader, for every entrepreneur to have those skills and those tools that will help him to stand in a difficult situation. And as we saw during these 2 years and the years before also, there are a lot of challenges that are facing every business. I will begin to talk on a broader context, which is business resilience in general. When we say a business is resilient, this means that that business can respond quickly and effectively to a sudden disruption. Either it is bad weather, a cyber attack, a major power cut, or a serious data loss. And we have a lot of examples. So if that business can respond quickly and effectively to those disruptions, we can say that business is resilient. But the business cannot be resilient without a flexible workforce that can adapt quickly and be supported when things go wrong. So in this session, we'll see together what is business continuity, in fact, the context in the current situation. If you want to implement or to have a business continuity plan, where will you begin? How to embed and test the business continuity plan, but also how to respond to a crisis when it occurs. And I'll give you some further information about any sites or any readings that you can follow before hitting the Q&A session. So what are the benefits of business continuity planning? In fact, business continuity will keep your business afloat. So that will lead you to a more flexible and resilient manner over time. And the techniques that we use in business continuity and dealing with the different stages will benefit other areas of your business, of course. And planning and doing at the same time is not something that we advise people to do. Plan first and then do things. You cannot do the two things at the same time, especially when you come to a crisis. A crisis needs a prior planification. You cannot be in a crisis and you are planning at that moment. Also, planning needs to be adequate or appropriate to your business circumstances. Every business has its own, I would say, field of work. So just for a basic principle, not to forget. So know your key products and services for success. So you are dealing with a business. You should know what are your products are, what are your services are, what are your key products, and what are your key services for the success of your business. What activities and resources do you need to deliver this success? You should know all the activities, all the resources, internal and external, to deliver that success. What could disrupt your business? What are the things or what are the factors or the events that could result in a disruption of your business? And when especially is that? And the most important thing is how to keep your business running during that disruption. When we talk, for example, about the second principle, and we talk about activities and resources, we should also include any intangibles such as reputation on social media. If you are doing your business on social media and you have disruption there, so it's your reputation that is in context. So you should take that in consideration. Also, you should think also about your customers or your vendors. What are the disruptions that may cause or might have an effect on your business that are outside of your entity? Other areas to consider, for example, you should agree your strategy at the start before beginning anything. Everything needs to be documented, so you should have your strategy documented, your plans documented. The time scales are important. You should know them. You should have them written and known by everybody. And who will approve and monitor all this? So this is really important in terms of having that culture of business continuity. Also, if you are talking about big companies, we should also know what standards will they use. Are they going, for example, with ISO to 2701 or to 2301? Any standard that is used, that should be also known. Who will be involved in this process? It is really important. What areas of the business are you concerned about? Where are your concerns? You should know exactly where your concerns are so that you can find the appropriate strategies to mitigate the risks. And most importantly, the involvement of senior management, the senior team, how that team will be involved in this process. So, as you all know, we are living in a very specific period, I would say, with the coronavirus now living with us for approximately 2 years, and no sign is really clear about when we will really go back to the old normal. And in my opinion, we won't get back to that normal because things are evolving and things are changing. Cyber attacks, we saw a huge increase in cyber attacks because of the pandemic. So we got a rise in cyber attacks, in ransomware, and we heard about a lot of incidents that happened to different companies. Even the biggest companies, they got attacked, and they got some of their data unavailable. Of course, the climate change, it is a constant thing, and it is one of the highest risks that we are living today. So that is something that is evolving also quickly, and the rhythm of the events and the rhythm of the circumstances of the climate change, we are now living them every day. So something that occurred once every 50 years, now it happens once every 5 years. So we should take that also in consideration. Terrorism as a constant threat and risk. We might be maybe not directly impacted by terrorism, but if you have your business implemented in a place or in a location where a terrorist attack occurred, you should have your plans in place so that you can mitigate the risks, protect your staff, and protect your business. We'll now switch to how to develop your business continuity plan. First of all, you should review your business, know yourself, which is one of the quotes of Sun Tzu. And he says, if you know yourself, you can, and your enemy, of course, you can win 100 battles. So the business impact assessment, the business process assessment, the business impact analysis, these are the words that we are using as a first step in developing a business continuity plan. After that, you should consider what really could go wrong, what can happen, what can disrupt your business. You should assess the risks and identify the strategies and tactics to minimize those disruptions. You should plan for it. And also work out how to respond in an incident, because you can have plans in place, but if you don't test them, you don't exercise them, it is as if you don't have really plans, because on the right moment, you won't find those capabilities to face the disruption and to treat the crisis. Another important thing is embedding, which is a dynamic, I would say, phase, because it is included in the beginning, on the end, in the middle. It is implementing the culture of business continuity within your activities, within your daily activities, within your plans, within your different activities. So it is a really important step. So firstly, understanding your business, So what are your key products and activities that provide the majority of your work? So everyone knows that he has X, Y, Z activities or products that are vital for the business to run. So this is what we are producing. This is what we are giving to our clients. This is where from where we get our salaries and wages and benefits. So this is really important to know. And sometimes during my consultancies, sometimes people don't really know the correct process, or don't really have a thorough idea about what is really happening in their companies. What are the key components and activities that you use? Some of these components include the materials or the equipment used, designs and intellectual property, the staff, which is an important piece in all this, suppliers, and maybe the suppliers who supply them. And we saw the disruption of supply chain during the pandemic and how it affected a lot of business. Your locations, such as your office, if you have, for example, any transportation needs. For example, you can have like a factory which is 30 kilometers from the capital, and your employees come every day by buses, and you have these rainfalls where the roads are blocked and staff cannot reach your company, so your business will stop. So this is something that you need to think about, and to have some mitigation strategies that you should implement. Utilities such as power and water to keep everything working. We saw during those last years how, for example, in Tunisia, the importance of the power outages, especially in high seasons, in summer, water also. So it is important to think about what alternative strategies you should have in place. Health and safety regulations and any regulations specific in the area of your business. So if you have like any new regulations in place, you should study thoroughly them, and you should have those details because some regulations might impact the way you are doing your business. So you should know that. What are your time scales? What do you need to do and when to ensure what you can deliver successfully? There is some jargon, maybe people who know about business continuity and know exactly what maximum tolerable period of disruption, MTPD, which is at what points will disrupts have serious consequences for your business. So how long can you support the disruption of your business? Is it for seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks? It differs between a digital company that is using internet and they have like a lot of customers that are instantly working with them, so they don't tolerate any disruption. So they have a very small period of recovery time objective, which is when do you need to get your process back working. So how long, for how long will your teams work to get your processes back to work? Here it is really important to know whenever the RTO is small, it gets more and more expensive, and it needs more and more resources. So you should take this in consideration. Return on investment, how much money will you put in that? So that all depends on the business, the company, and the risk appetite of the company. And of course, your recovery time objective should be within less than the maximum tolerable period of disruption. It shouldn't exceed, because if it exceeds, this means that you went beyond the tolerable period that you can accept the disruption of your business. So what could disrupt your business and when? So we talk about hazards, we talk about threats, hazards such as flooding, including flash flooding, and we saw that flash flooding also have a serious impact on traffic, on traveling, on buildings. So it is really important. Power interruption, transport disruption, human diseases such as the pandemic or the influenza or any other disease that may cause the absenteeism of your staff, or might put in place regulations that are specific concerning, for example, the number of people that should be in one room, the mode of transportation that needs to be taken in consideration, and all the other regulations that we all know. Threats such as cybercrime, the number one potential for disruption, maybe yes, maybe no. Crime, maybe not directly concerning business, but it is also something to consider. Terrorism also, as I said before, it is something to take in consideration at all times. Before 2013, for example, in Tunisia, we didn't talk about any, I would say, terrorist attack, or even hearing gunshots other than in fire fields and stuff. But from that moment, we lived several attacks that disrupted a lot of business, that made fear, and that every one of us should think about his plan of treating situation in that matter. So what are the impacts of those hazards or threats? So can they have financial trading problems, bank payments, for example? Can it impact the suppliers going out of business? Can it cause the unavailability of key products? Can it have economic disruption? Can it lead to, for example, strikes or anything that can interrupt business? All of these are possible impacts. What you should know here is the likelihood that an event may actually disrupt your business. And also what impacts, if the disruption happens, your business will have. And this leads us to what we call the risk. So the risk is uncertainty on objectives. Very simple. It is uncertainty. So and it is a combination of the likelihood of an event and its impact. So if you take the impact of a risk, an impact of an event times the likelihood, you'll have the value of the risk, and by that you can classify. And as you see here, according to the Global Risk Report 2021 done by the World Economic Forum, you see this matrix, which is the risk matrix or the risk register, I would say. So as you see, infectious disease, for example, it is the most important or the most impactful risk. But also, as you remark here, climate action failure, it has really a great impact, and it is a very high risk. That's why we encourage all countries to take actions to reduce the effect of climate. So it is something like this that you'll find in your risk register, and this will give you what risks, what are the biggest or highest risks on your business, so that you can identify the priorities and the strategies you should put in place to mitigate those risks. So when we deal with risk, we deal with the cost and resources. So it is time and money, time, money, stuff. How much investment can a business put to protect or to deal with those risks? We know that everyone is concerned with the income, with growing his business, with the searching for new clients, and this part might be put in the lowest list of a business owner. I would say you should give it the time and the money it needs, depending of course on the capabilities you have, depending on the resources you have, depending on the capabilities your staff have in place. So you understand best your business and take the risks. Only you can decide on your risk appetite. The risk appetite depends always on the board or on the business owner. So you are the only one to say that, okay, I can tolerate this risk. I take in charge all the consequences that might happen when this event is in place. So you are the one who decides, depending on the resources you have, depending on your priorities, but take in consideration that this is a very important piece that you should have in your list. So always focus on generic outcomes. For example, transport disruption could cause, what should it cause? For example, unavailability of staff or late delivery of supplies, or so you should focus on those generic outcomes. For example, bad weather could cause the closure of an office, unavailability of staff, or the loss of power. So each time you have a cause, you have a consequence. So you should focus on these so that you can find the right solution. So it's a methodology that you should follow that will help you mitigate those risks. Other areas to consider, key members of staff, for example, can get into work if you have what we say a single point of failure. If you have, for example, a job or an activity or an action that is done only by one person or by one machine or by one piece of equipment, if that person or that piece of equipment is absent, that action will not be done. What does that mean? That means that your activity will stop. So that's why nowadays we should get out of these silos, and every department should work with the other. Within the department, there should be people replacing the key staff. If someone is absent, the other will replace him. For example, in the standards in the pandemic, we go until the fifth level. So we assume that 4 out of 5 people doing the same thing might be absent. So you see the importance of having this continuity of activities within one department. What if your IT isn't available? So what should you do? What if you lose internet connection? What if you cannot have access to your offices, to your buildings, to your factory? What strategies did you put in place? Or how much time could you tolerate that? How rapidly you can get to the next solution or the other alternative solution? What if you have a data loss, particularly sensitive information? What if you have a cyber attack? What if there is a crime in your premises? What should you do? So all these things are factors that might disrupt your activity, and that might have an effect or a bad effect on your activities if it is not treated the right way. So prioritization is also really important. So you will prioritize which activities will be your most important activities. What are the key activities that you have? And how much time can you tolerate the disruption of these activities? For example, if you are a company doing that has activities that rely on the presence of people in the offices, and that is something which is a must. So maybe the most important for you for you as a business is the loss of the premises. So you should have that alternative site or alternative maybe strategies to deal with that. Maybe you have the importance of staff, key staff. It is really important to have that in place. So prioritization in terms of the impact that would have on your business and the amount of time you would have to solve the problem before the worst happened. So it is all about anticipation. It is all about perspective. It is all about foresight. It is all about reading what could happen in the future and anticipating and putting all the circumstances for you or for your business to succeed. So how to keep things going? How to keep your business running? So you should have understanding of what could cause disruption to your business, how long this disruption could last, and the impact on your business. So those three elements, you should have them in place or in your mind. You have a better understanding of these things. For that, you should identify a toolbox of strategies. So it's like the small toolkit you have in your house. If you have, for example, a water leakage, you have the right equipment to deal with that. If you have, for example, the light, a bulb is broken, you have a spare one to replace it. So it is all like this. So it is toolbox of strategies that you have in place for dealing with each of these potential disruptions. For example, replicating what you are doing, so you have redundancy. If you are, for example, a big company that can have different sites, so you are doing the same thing in different places. That way, if something happens in one site, you have that switch to the other side instantly. Buying additional services or support if the need arises, or sometimes you just do nothing. It is a strategy. Not doing nothing is really a strategy, because you should, for example, wait and see how things develop. So that is one of the strategies that we use sometimes, but this should be done in a precautious way. Time is really valuable. So if you don't take the decision at the right time, you might lose also your business. So this really depends on the situation and depends on the business. But wait and see is one of the strategies that is used. In your toolbox, identify ways that you can address issues with people, for example, which is unavailability of staff, premises, your office or factory or shop, resources. Do you need to use IT or equipment or transport your goods? Suppliers and their suppliers too. So you should have all these in place. And don't forget, as I said, do nothing also that might be also found in your toolbox. So one of the or maybe some of the strategies that ARCH is replicating, or multiple options, buying a solution or do nothing whilst you wait and see how things really develop. Have in mind those questions. For example, what do I need to restore in 1 hour, in 1 day, or within the maximum MTPD access, for example, to my business premises? What do I need to restore? For example, at the beginning of the day, if I have something happening in my office, I should know what should I be doing by the end of the day. Maybe switching to remote work. So it is something that I should be thinking from the time of the disruption. If I have key members of staff that cannot get into work within 1 hour, 2 hours in a day, what should I do? What are the things, the actions that I should be taking? What happens if, for example, a key supplier is not delivering as promised, or just gone bust? So what should I do? I should have like alternative suppliers, or I should have something in my stock or anything like that, so that I can resist to that disruption. So this is what I need really to restore in terms of time. Now, what's next? It is producing a plan or your plans, depending on the volume or on the size of the company. So priorities and actions. Set out the key business areas that you have identified as the highest priority for your business. and how long you would have before the impact of any incident on your business became serious. For example, if you have this nature of disruption, which is business premises closed, so for example, actions within the first hour, I should contact all priority contacts within that are found in the business continuity plan. So this is just a simple example so that you know what I'm talking about. So actions by the end of the day, for example, the first day. So I should think about setting up stuff working from home. And this needs a work from the IT guys and also the staff so that they are ready for that mode of work. Now, for example, any additional actions, so they investigate temporary accommodation for day 3 if needed. So if, for example, the business location, the office or the factory is not available for a certain time, I should find something else, an area. I should hire, for example, another building within no more than 3 days so that I can maintain my activities. So these types of priorities and actions, it's like a small checklist that you should have so that you can know exactly what to do at each moment. So if we talk about more detailed plans, big companies, for example, can use several plans, but mostly the plan should have a scope, any assumptions, objectives from the plan. What are your objectives? How it is invoked, roles and responsibilities, which is important. Locations, what are the resources in place to treat those disruptions. Communications, and this includes internal communication and external communication, and this should include all the key contact details. What are the activities and any relevant information, such as maps of the area, instructions, for example, to access the building, all those details that can be put in your plans. So reviewing the plan, so embedding the plan into your business is really a very important step to succeed in response to a disruption. Embedding the plan in the business is really important. But you should ask yourself, can you do everything in the plan immediately? Are there things that can be done immediately, things that can be postponed? You should focus on your key priorities. So what are your key priorities? You should have them always in mind so that you can focus on them when disruption happens, and let your team focus on them, and let other people focus on other things. So your main mission when the disruption happens is to make those key actions or key activities continue. Some mitigation can be done now, others should be captured into your plan with details of what is needed. You should revise your plan regularly, and this includes all the contact details. Sometimes we go and make inspections or audits, so we find that people don't update their plans, which is really important, because when a disruption happens, this is the plan that you will follow to make the correct actions. So it is really important to have it updated, and make sure everyone is aware of the plan and what their roles should be. The plan, should it be a piece of or a file that is put in your desk? No, it should be something that everyone knows about first. People, they should know that you have a plan. People, they should know their roles and responsibilities when something happens. And everyone should know what to do in case needed. So awareness is really important People should know your plans. These are not really secret. There are parts that are maybe confidential, but the overall plan, the overall ongoing of treating disruption should be known by everybody, even your suppliers and your partners. And we come to the crisis management piece. So when you have plans, you should know how to deal with these plans. You should exercise them. You should have those skills to manage a crisis. So first, you should be joined up. So get everybody together, set up a crisis management structure. This is important and vital for every single business, whatever the size of the business is. Everyone should have a crisis management structure. Of course, with different roles and responsibilities. Everyone should know what to do, when, and where. You should identify where you will manage the crisis from. If you are, for example, have a crisis management room, a meeting room that is transformed into a crisis management room in case needed, in the same building that is not accessible. So what does this mean? This means that you don't have a place to meet. So you should have an alternative place. It can be online, it can be in another building. So you should have that in mind. Document everything you do. So every step you take should be documented. We have what we call the incident log. If something happens, everything should be documented. And we have those reports that are sent regularly, and we have also the after action report, which gives you a summary and what actions went wrong and what actions went well, and what are the future corrections that you should do to avoid such incidents. And you saw in Tunisia, we lived a couple of incidents in the last few weeks where huge buildings or a whole factory just went into fire, and about 1,500 employees went out without salary. You should have like everything documented, really. Test everything regularly. It is really important. Testing, exercising, it is one of the most important things to have your plan vital. And also a plan to maintain well-being. It is really important to take care of yourself during crisis. You know, there is lots of stress. There are a lot of energy that you are consuming. So you might find yourself like by the end of the day, you didn't drink any water, so which is not healthy for yourself. So you should maintain your well-being so that you can make the right decisions and you can maintain the rhythm of managing the crisis, because the crisis can be something that lasts for hours, but it might be something that lasts for days and months. So you should be prepared for that and have the correct well-being so that you can manage the crisis. When dealing with an incident, it is important to maintain good situation awareness. What does it mean, situation awareness? So you should know everything at the right time, and you should have the right thing in your hands. You should have the right information in your hands, which is really important. A manager or CEO cannot accept having two different versions at the same time. It is not acceptable, because that way he cannot take the right decision. So it is important to verify the information and to have correct information, valuable information, consistent information, based on which decisions will be taken. Have a clear understanding of roles and responsibilities. Again, it is really important. Roles and responsibilities are really one of the pieces of the success of any response to a crisis. Set up regular timings for reports. You should have regular timings for your reports. Either it is by the end of the day, 2 times a day, 3 times, depending on the situation. But you should have these regular reports so that you can update your senior management, top management, the board, the CEO about what is really happening and what actions were taken and what we should take in the future. Have a situation of the type of disruption, what are the damages, if there are any safety issues, if there are any injured people, if there are any deaths, because those require intervention from top management and from the team, so that we can take care of our staff, of their families, of everything that concerns the business. And communications. Communications is really a key success element in managing crisis. Communications, not only externally, but also internally. Internally, and we saw a lot of catastrophes that happened because there wasn't the right communication within the staff. So good communication is not something that comes by itself. It needs training, it needs exercising, it needs as I said from the beginning, getting out of these silos. In a disruption, all the departments should work together because everyone has his piece in the plan. Everyone has his function. Everyone has his role and responsibility. So if you don't give me the information, I might get into trouble, and this means that the whole business will get into trouble. If we get back to the business impact analysis, we might find that departments are interrelated. There is this interrelation between them. So I might take an action that will cause disruption to another service. So it is important to have this communication, to have this, I would say, dynamic relationship between the different elements of a business. So communication internally is vital. Also externally, it is very important. And nowadays, you see the social media. If something happens in a business, you find it in instance in social media. So what is your communication strategy? How will you inform your staff? How will you inform their families? How will you inform your stakeholders? What information should go to the public? So all this needs to be well prepared, and we have what we call the pre-planned responses, and we take scenarios and situations, and we put the right actions that should be done. Those are not like something static, but they are dynamic because they will change according to the scenario. But at least you won't begin from scratch. You have something to deal with. You have something to work with, so that it will help you. It's like a checklist that it is prepared beforehand, and that will help you in times of crisis. Some crisis principles. The question, so what, is really important. So if you tell me something, I would ask you this: so what? Tell me any information. I'll tell you, so what? What is the impact of that action? Does it have really an impact on our business? How bad could this get? Is it something that can just go within time, or it is something that will have an impact? What do I need to tell? Who should I call? Who is in charge of that? What do I need to do? So these are the crisis, some crisis principles that you should have in mind, so that when you get into a crisis situation, you ask those questions, and you should have those answers, so that you can carry on and manage your crisis. Decision making in a crisis, in the early stage of an incident, information is really limited in any situation. So we don't have enough information. So it is really important not to blame people about wrong decisions, because you shouldn't also wait for detailed information so that you can take action. It is really vital for the business to make those rapid actions so that you can mitigate the risks and mitigate the disruption. So you shouldn't delay a response. It is really important. You should take action. And these actions, they depend on the information you get. So the experience of the people who are dealing with those, with managing the crisis, here gets into the field, and to demonstrate this, a written log of all actions and decisions is really vital. So as I told you before, it is really important to document everything. If someone gives an order to do something, it is really important to document that, so that he is responsible, he is accountable for the actions, for decisions he took. And this is not to blame people or to make people maybe in a bad situation, but also to have a good return of experience and a good backup for yourself, so that when you are doing the right corrections or doing the right actions, you know exactly what to do and where to change, to do that change, so that you can improve the response. So some quick wins and longer term work. So it is important for everyone to begin working on having his plans. What are the things that you can do immediately? So these things can be done quickly and will start building your resilience. It is really important, for example, to have a list of key staff with the phone numbers or the contact numbers, that it is easily available at all hours to those who need it. And believe me, this is a simple step, but it is a vital step. And if by experience, I know that this is not done in most of the businesses, especially small businesses. Maybe big companies, they have this mechanism and they have this culture of resilience, but in small business, this is not done. And whenever something happens, you don't know who to call. And even your stakeholders, you start looking for those details on the right and on the left, and you don't have them. So this is something that is easy to be done, but it is a first step to take. Make sure that the contact details should also include a brief detail of why they are important. So if you are putting someone on that log or on that sheet, so the one who will ask him or will call him should know why he should call X and not call Y. So it is really important to have those details, because time is money, and you cannot just go talking to everybody while talking to the most important person, the last one. So it is very important to have that information. What else? Examples of key contacts. So, for example, a local taxi firm or a logistic company or something like that. So it is really important to have something on hand. Your landlord contact details, your insurance contact details, numbers and websites for electricity, gas, water, broadband or phone, and also your local GP or hospital. So it is really important to have those numbers. Key professional support such as your accountant, legal advisors if they are needed if you don't have one, or potential legal advisor if you don't have one. Health and safety contacts, your IT suppliers, a company that could advise on media and communications issues if needed. Sometimes people really don't know what to do with external communication, what to say, how to deal with media. So in some circumstances, you need someone to rely on. So those are the type of people that you should have their contact. What you can do immediately, so consider how you would communicate to staff if they couldn't come into the office. So do you have like a list of phone numbers, WhatsApp groups? How will you communicate that? And believe me, it is not an easy exercise to contact all the staff after working hours. It is not really easy to do that. You might have people that when they get out of the work, they just shut down all their communications. So it is important for the staff to know that he is called to have a joinable means of communication, whatever it is, so that in case needed, they can call him. Agree who will do what, even if your plan isn't yet complete. It is really important. Don't think about having or achieving a complete plan. Just give everyone his task and then do the thorough planning. Investigate any mitigation such as temporary office, alternative suppliers, alternative transport. You should have that on hand so that in case something happens, you know where to go exactly. And information is really important. Don't get information from social media. It is not really the accurate information. Find trusted sites where you can get more information, or agencies that can provide the type of information you're looking for. It is really important. So validation, test and exercise. So regularly check the information in your plan. Is it accurate? Is it up to date? It is really important to have that on hand. And exercising. Exercising is the key or success element of any plan. You can just bring your staff around you and walk through the plan and discuss things. This is type of exercising. So everyone at least will know what his role is and will maybe give you some insights and corrective actions that you should put on your plan, and that way you update everything. Does your plan really deal with all the scenarios? Maybe you have a scenario that is imminent and you don't have it in plan, so you should consider that. Does everyone know what their role is? Could everyone be contacted when needed? This is really important. Have you forgotten something completely from your plan? You should walk through the plan, talk with your staff, and see if you have anything missing. This comes maybe to the end of my presentation. So how to find information, where to find it. So the most important maybe two institutions in the world are the Business Continuity Institute and DRI. So one British and one American. In these two sites, you can find a lot of information, a lot of information. There is also online documents that you can search on the web. There are types of business continuity plans that you might use. And of course, if you need any support from GRSS Consulting or Africa Business Continuity, we are here to help you with training, with doing the right steps, with building your plans, and we'll be really happy to serve. This comes to an end, and I would appreciate your patience during this hour. Just one thing, I'll be conducting a live exercise on Friday from 4 to 6. It will be maybe an opportunity for participants to live a scenario and to maybe discuss with peers about what actions should be done during a disruption. Keep in mind that we are living in really an uncertain period. Uncertainty, this includes political violence, civil disturbances, terrorism, the pandemic, cyber attacks, and of course, climate change. Think about resilience, think about preserving your business, which is really the most important thing. Think about business continuity as a tool to help you reach the resilience you need. And please spread the word. Business continuity is really vital for every business. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy for any questions. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur Raouf Riahi. Merci pour votre présentation.
Merci, Hajj. Donc, si on a des questions...